Well, thank you for having me today. It's an honor to be here at the Pachyderm Club. I'm so grateful for George and the work. ACE scholarships probably only exist because of the work that KPI and ACE has done from a policy effort to expand into the 12 states that we're in today. So I just want to say thank you for your work. KPI has been a huge supporter of educational choice and giving kids the opportunity. Just thank you for that. It's a testament to the hard work and the dedication, many years that you've put into it, and we're so thankful for that. As I look to be here today, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'm the state director for ACE here in Kansas and have been here in 2 years now in the state and come to love it. I'm originally from California. I went to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Great journeys for me, but I call myself a Kansan now, and I'm so thankful for that. Back in my college days at the Air Force Academy, I had the distinct pleasure and honor of competing in an NCAA tournament. And for whoever can guess how many minutes I played in an NCAA tournament game, I'll throw an ACE hat to you at the end of this. So write that number down. And then write this number down, whatever zip code you grew up in, because those are things that I'll be talking about throughout my talk today. But at that, I was fortunate enough to play against someone I think you all probably know since you're from Kansas. His name's Roy Williams. Yeah, we were up 5 at the half, but then Raymond Felton banked in a 3 and it went the other way. But great opportunity. We played at the Pepsi Center in North Carolina. I had a great experience doing that, and truly an unforgettable experience that taught me the value of persistence and hard work and teamwork. So after that, my basketball journey wasn't over. As George mentioned, I coached at the Air Force Academy and had the distinct pleasure and privilege of playing for the San Antonio Spurs. Under the leadership of Greg Popovich, who many people know in basketball. I'm going to tell a little fishtail story now, a hoop story. So imagine it's halftime, and we're trailing by a few points. Coach Pop strides into the locker room, commanding attention as he does. We think there's a talk. You might think there's a talk coming, but instead he pulls out a bottle of really expensive wine, like Chateau Lafite Rothschild, and then starts discussing those qualities with us. Coach Pop brings to life the rich aroma, the velvety texture, the complex flavor profiles, and he relates all those to the different aspects of the game of basketball and uses it as a metaphor to inspire and elevate performance on the courts. You can all imagine this happening, right? Showcasing the ability to think outside of the box, find unconventional ways to motivate players. ACE Scholarships is doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing in education. They're providing that opportunity. That's enough talk about my past basketball experience. Let's talk about something that's a little more important. ACE Scholarships is providing and committed to providing educational opportunities for every kid, no matter of their background or financial circumstances. And we do that through the tax credit program here and private generous giving. And we're making that a commitment here in the state. I'll go through a little bit of our background, but the background really comes to why it's around. It's these kids. So there's 2 stories here that I'll share today, a little about Josiah. You can hopefully read through a little bit of that. I know that afterwards you'll be provided with some of this information as well, and I hope that you take a minute to read over this. But Josiah had struggles he had to overcome and was fortunate to do that and achieved a very high level of success and moved forward and is thriving. And that's what we want to see for every student in America today. I think you'll get a good glimpse here as we play this little quick short video. It gives you an overview of ACE.
School choice is important because I don't want to be stuck. I'm stuck with what's presented to me, even if it's not good. And I didn't want them to be in an environment where there was no hope, there was no structure. If you're lost, how can you keep them from being lost?
ACE is this unique organization that proves that parental choice works.
The vision is simple. We want a quality education for every student, so that every student has the best shot. And what's really exciting about being at ACE is that there's this momentum that's been building over the last 20 plus years. And based upon what we've been doing and the growth, we can't stop now. We have to keep going.
This moment in time is historic.
There is greater momentum and energy than I had ever seen before in the history of ACE scholarships.
We're at that time where added push by organizations like ACE can meaningfully accelerate through these changed circumstances.
And our team at ACE is poised to take advantage of this energy and elevate ACE to new heights, to expand upon our scholarship program, to grow to more states, to work with our policy team to help states pass meaningful legislation, and to invest heavily in our alumni. But what it takes is our stakeholders to come alongside and help us out.
We need people who are going to put skin in the game. We need people who are going to step up and not only talk about the issues, but be part of the solution. We have a solution right now. We know how we can fix it. We're actively doing that.
And if you believe in school choice or you believe in what ACE does, then why not act now? I'm here because I'm as invested in ACE as ACE is invested in me. And the people that have given into ACE are the ones that have made the difference and have changed our life. So the giving creates hope.
ACE has a very special place in this fight because it is a catalyst to bigger systemic change.
And if the United States of America wants to continue to lead the world, we must invest in education.
Everybody knows this is the essence of the debate about what America's future looks like. The United States will be stronger because of what we are able to do over the next just a few years.
This is our new normal. School choice is our new normal. Quality education is our new normal. Every student, no matter where you go, gets a great education. Every student is provided with the educational skills to really craft and design their own future and go forth and make it so.
Definitely worth clapping about. And here's another story about a Kansas student, Bertie Miller, who I met about 2 years ago, who's an ACE recipient at Care Paravel Latin School in Topeka. This is a young lady who, during her educational journey, was in public school as a kindergartner, was very advanced, and was told that she had to go into higher grade levels to be able to get the education that she deserved. And her mom said that that wasn't a right fit for them. Didn't think that being maybe a 16-year-old and going off to college would be a good idea. And thought that there might be some better options. Explored them, found the school, Care Paravel. Couldn't afford it, so stayed in that school, went through another year, saw that it wasn't the right fit. And then she learned about ACE scholarships. And the ability to have an ACE scholarship allowed her to go to Care Paravel. And this young woman is phenomenal, ahead of her class again. But at Care Paravel, they were smart enough to keep her in the grade that she should be in and allowed her to advance and grow. And today she's flourishing. Her mom is studying to become a lawyer. She'd like to do the same thing, run for political office here at the state level and then run for the president of the United States. And I would vote for her. So I hope you will in the future as well, because with girls like her, we are going to be in really good hands. So we are in a crisis today. As our video showed, we are falling behind all of our peers and countries all across the world. It gives you some staggering numbers where we rank across the world in math, science, and reading. Not to mention the test rate decline that we've seen over the last few years, and the number of students that graduate from schools today that can't even be proficient in their subjects and are unprepared as they move forward. So it's a historic time, and we at ACE believe we need all of you to help support that time. And we have an opportunity in front of us to really change educational freedom for so many. We're grateful that we have the partners that help us do that, which is our schools, all of our partner schools, which we have over 1,000 partner schools here at ACE. And because of the momentum of school choice, we've seen just remarkable growth. Here in the state of Kansas last year, from ACE scholarships perspective, we had a 285% increase in applications, showing that kids and families are looking for alternative opportunities for education. We work today in over 12 states. You get a good picture of the map here of the states we're in. We have 4 states which are tax credit states. That's Montana, Kansas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. And then the rest of the states are general donation states, where we have general donations that come in and we support student scholarships. We've seen an increase up to 14,000 scholarships last year. This next year we'll probably be at about 25 or 30,000. So you can tell the great growth that we've had. The momentum is building, and it's because of leaders like you who get the word out. Takeaway, compared to public school peers, reading and math proficiencies are dramatically higher. We're graduating kids at higher rates. It's because those parents and those students are picking the school. They have skin in the game. They're saying that this is something that they want to be invested in, and because of it, it shows great success. So what we'd like to continue to grow to from our perspective is looking at the different areas: scholarship growth, policy, alumni support, so helping support those 15,000 students that are in our program each year, and then expanding into new states. Right now there's a huge wave of growth and development across the landscape of education. I'll talk a little bit more about ESAs and the growth that we've had, and then just a legacy to allow every student to have a high quality education. So briefly touch on policy here. We're so thankful for the work of KPI and other partners. I saw Pastor Wade Moore back there. I'd like to make sure he gets a round of applause for the work he does. When we've been in front of the legislature, he's been an advocate for the work that we do, and we have many ACE scholars who are at Urban Preparatory Academy and seeing the value firsthand of having a leader like Pastor Moore inspire them and help educate it. I know when we walk into class, done tours at his school. If you haven't, please go over and tour his school. You'll see the great work they're doing. But those kids, the first time they're there, it's inspiring. I mean, they have someone speak into their life in a positive way, giving them examples of success. Then they pray, and then they honor the flag every day. They do the same thing, and that's a way that you build that consistency and success, and I'm so thankful for that. Last year, through some of our work here in Kansas, we were able to increase the tax credit scholarship earned by donors, and then also expand student eligibility to those up to 250% of the federal poverty line. So more kids in Kansas now have options. We've done that across the United States as well, and we will continue to do that. So one of the ways that we can get support and continue to grow our efforts is through multi-year support from donors, and then also from you going out and then sharing the word. I feel coming into Kansas, I knew about ACE because I had grown up in California and then moved out to Colorado. In Colorado, ACE was founded. The business leaders, much like the leaders who probably founded the Petroleum Club, said ACE is something that we want to get behind and we want to support, and it has grown dramatically. If you walk around in Denver or in Colorado, everyone knows what ACE Scholarships is and is about. In Kansas, we haven't made that impression yet, so I need your help to do that. And we can do that through, obviously, donations, but word of mouth, the conversations that you can have with your friends and supporters, and then what we're trying to build. So this gives you a rundown. I'll go quickly through these. If you want to come back, you can look at these. But these are our student scholarships provided, our partner schools, and the open seats that are available at our partner schools through the different states. So I'll get through these quick and then stop on Kansas because that's where our heart is. And Kansas. So 2 years ago, we were at 240 students. Now we're at 705 students that are on scholarship here. Great growth. This last year, we were at 72 partner schools. This next year, we'll be above 80. And we just continue to see more schools that are looking for that opportunity to be a part of ACE scholarships and the opportunities we provide for young people. There's a little nugget up in the corner. It says Kansas offers a 75% tax credit to those who give to ACE scholarships up to $500,000. Be sure to take advantage of this amazing opportunity before it's too late. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. This is our Wichita area partner schools. So you know ACE Scholarships has invested $648,000 this last year to 242 students here in Wichita alone. Kind of gives you a breakdown of each of the different schools and some of the funding around it. But we're so thankful that we have investors and partners here in the state that allow us to give our money directly to this area. So Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, which is another tax credit state that has a 100% tax credit. Hopefully one day in Kansas we'll be at 100% tax credit. New Mexico, Texas, Utah. Utah's a fun one. We just launched what's called Utah Fits All. It's a scholarship program. It's an ESA, and we'll be managing that program. We'll have around 10,000 scholarships given out directly to students there. This is the direct impact because of an anonymous Wichita area donor. Because they gave $50,000 the last year, 16 kids have the opportunity to go on scholarships. So pretty incredible opportunity. Now, talk a little bit more about the 75% tax credit. So in the state of Kansas, with your state tax liability, you are able to take your state liability that you have from kind of a tax perspective and give us a donation, and we're able to write you back a 75% credit. So 75 cents on the dollar comes back to you in a credit from us to support student scholarships. So your dollars are directly spent in a way that you know they're going to be spent, educating a student here in the state of Kansas. So you can use that from a business perspective or an individual perspective up to $500,000 per year. And then that also can be carried forward as well. So great way to see your hard-earned tax dollars or hard-earned dollars be used to support students in scholarships K through 8. So here's a donation. I'm not a tax expert, neither are our staff. So go talk to a tax professional, but this should give you a little bit of a rundown on what it equates out to for the total net cost of a gift. So for a $50,000 gift, you're looking at maybe an $8,000 overall cost to you on that front. So you can find all this information at acescholarships.org as well. Gives you a perspective on all that we have to help you with. Why you? Because the future of America needs you. Today we are tackling a nationwide crisis in education. And as the video before showed, it's the time. The momentum's here. We're seeing school choice across the country flourishing, giving families the opportunity to choose where they want their kids to go to school. And with that in mind, I'd love for you all to consider a gift of $10,000 to $500,000 over a 3-year period to help support the work we do. If it calls your heart and you're spurred to it, please reach out to me after and we can talk about how you can make a difference. So here's some information. And I'll end today with a story about me. I know you had a story about you, and I'd like you to remember first off, I guess, who has the guess on how many minutes? We'll start there. 22. Close. But higher. 35. Close, but higher. 40 minutes. Who got it? Right there? Never got to go out. And I now will tie it to that next number, 94521. If you guys don't mind saying yours, what are yours? 67214. I grew up in California, 94521. My parents, when I was in 6th grade, decided to move me to 94517. And that move gave me the opportunity to go to a brand new school that was just built, where their education was much higher than the one that I would have been into. And because of that, I ended up going back to the school at 94521, which was De La Salle High School. I played basketball for them on a nationally ranked team, and I had an opportunity to earn a scholarship to the Air Force Academy. I've flown in an F-16, was a co-pilot in an F-16, have my friends that are leading the weapons school, was fortunate enough to have a career in the military, coaching, loved it, transitioned into the world of philanthropy and giving, now here working to serve education. Education, I wouldn't be where I was today if I hadn't had that opportunity. First off, my parents had the choice for us to move to the place. Secondly, De La Salle didn't happen without the opportunity for a scholarship, because we couldn't afford De La Salle at the time, so I had a partial scholarship. So a scholarship came into play to do that. So the same work that we provide for other people, you can pay it back the same way that I've had it. And that's why it's so meaningful for me to have that opportunity to be in front of you today, where I can share the amazing impact we're having on students. So I like to say that ACE was probably founded out of De La Salle back in the day, but it really was the business leaders out of Colorado that have founded it, and so many generous community leaders have probably done the same thing, supporting student educations and giving kids the opportunity to have great success. So thankful for your time. I'd love to answer some questions that you might have on the tax credit program and some of the work we have here. I think a dialogue's probably the best way to handle some of them, because there is a lot of questions around it. The number one I'll preface with, how can I do that? What's the law? So you can give your money through us to support your tax credit. So pretty amazing.
Tell us about
Utah. So George had asked about Utah. So in Utah, there's 3 states that have kind of really moved towards ESAs, educational savings accounts. So that's where the money is now following the kids. So in Utah today, ACE is now the provider for Utah Fits All scholarships. So we give out scholarships in the state of Utah. We were allocated originally $50 million to allocate roughly 5,000 scholarships. They've already gone back to the legislature, and now I think we have $100 million to allocate for students getting the choice to pick where they want to go to school. So we see great growth in that. I think Louisiana is on the forefront of that, Arkansas as well. So really encouraged by the opportunities that Utah Fits All is providing in a space that I think will be growing quite a bit here into the near future. So appreciate your question on that.
If you have any questions, raise your hand. We'll get to you.
If you could wave a magic wand to speaking of change things, what would your goals be for us to achieve in Kansas to expand this?
I would say, any way we can give every single kid the opportunity to choose where they want to go to school, and have no financial burden around that would be my number one goal. Because like my background, my experience, because I had that opportunity, I got to choose where I went and had a great life and journey to where we're at today, personally. Yes, and we're growing, and we have great partners, but we can always do better. We can make sure that every kid has that opportunity. Today we've expanded legislation where now I think there's about 280,000 kids that I think have that. I think that's the number. Around that, have the opportunity to have and use the tax credit scholarship program. So.
So, I was born in a small village in India. I want to provide money for the scholarship for the students, elementary school students, high school students in India. How can I do that?
Give money in India?
Yes, please.
I don't have an answer to that one. I'm sorry.
In the Kansas legislature, what's the next thing you think that we should be doing next year to help advance this opportunity for freedom in schools?
Having seen the success of the programs in some of the other states that we have a tax credit program, I would say that if you can get to 100% tax credit, it definitely brings awareness to everybody at a much higher level. I mean, Louisiana, we raise probably between $10 and $15 million a year. And I think here, I mean, if we could do that quickly, we impact that many more students. Considering ESAs in the future in the state and giving kids access to that would be another one that would be something I think that would create great value quickly. So those would be two things that I'd say make sense.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate what you're doing. I know I hear often that some of the problem with education is what's happening at home. Do you guys have a way of tackling what's going on in the homes to help the students overcome maybe some of the challenges they have there?
What a great question. And I think, that comes back to some of the founding principles of ACE scholarships. And really it's a partial scholarship. So the students aren't getting a full scholarship. So the students and the family that make that commitment are making the commitment to say, hey, this is important to me. And they have skin in the game. The school has skin in the game. ACE Scholarships is providing that support. Because of that three-pronged approach, we find that those families, when we've done independent studies on it, they're eating at home and talking about education 94% of the time. So, I mean, that's much higher. I look at my family and the amount of time we go home and we have dinner together. I wish I could be at that level. It probably makes me aspire to be even better because we don't eat dinner that much together. But they do because there's a shared common purpose to what they want. They want a great quality education that provides their kids the opportunities that they might not have had or that they see available for them. So I think that to your answer, the family dynamic, the families are wanting this, and that's a big deal.
Okay, next question.
Thank you, AJ, for being here and work that ACE is doing. And at the same time, not just running the Urban Prep Academy, but we have an SGO as well, and we raise funds to support. And looking at the 2024 legislative report, there's 8 eligible SGOs in the state of Kansas. And Christian Faith Center, which is our SGO, we're the third in number. We have 243 eligible students. Now, with other SGOs, those students are spread out in different schools across the city, across the state. But the children that we support, these are all children in one facility. So we have the largest number of tax credit scholarship students in one facility. And it makes it pretty difficult, and we really deal with a lot of low-income families face-to-face with that. I know right now, the Department of Revenue is coming up with a new system on how to get students approved. It was the paper applications that they would do with the SGO and all of that, but now they're going electronically, which I feel is another barrier to getting students approved. Right now, families are struggling with just to do the paperwork and doing it. And then once the students are approved by the state, they've been through the whole approval process. And then some SGOs require them to go through another approval process, which makes it even more difficult for families, even though according to state law, state statutes, they've already been approved. But then to get the tax credit scholarship, they got to go through another level of approval. And then there's cost attached to it, which $35 is a lot of money for a family to have to pay again to get approved. And so what we're doing is bringing families in and paying the $35. And I talked to Senator Marshall in DC, and I asked him if he could make it easier for ACE in the state of Kansas to do business, to make those things go away. So I want to know, are there any things in place to help ease the burden on these families that have already been qualified, going through a qualification process again?
Yeah, thanks for the question. What was the response that you got, Pastor Moore?
From Senator Marshall?
Yeah.
He and the Louisiana senator, they agreed to get together and talk about easing some restrictions and helping ACE, make it easier for ACE to do business in Kansas like they do in Louisiana.
That'd be great. Yeah, that's a great solution there. And, you know, I think one of the benefits of ACE being around and being in 12 states and having the level of just expertise in the marketplace is that we have scale. I mean, we've processed 80,000 scholarships already to date. So, I mean, the ability for us to go through and vet those families, and we've streamlined that. So I think that is one thing that we've provided and grown over the last few years, is to allow those families the opportunity to do it and not have those huge burdens. I know in Kansas as well, once they've put their background information in terms of the financial backing, we don't have to recertify that again. So that is a huge advantage. So.
And real quick, I noticed that Oklahoma is bracketed as one of the states you're not in. I found they do have some good school choice development. Is there a reason you're not in Oklahoma?
Yes and no. It's one of the states we're looking at expansion. So probably leave it there. I mean, one of the reasons for expansion and growth is really to have a foundational level donor. So someone that can come in and say, hey, I'm gonna be supportive of you investing the resources here in the state. In Oklahoma, we probably still need that individual or that group of people to come alongside from that.
Yeah, I just need some clarification. You give the money, the scholarship to the student, right?
Directly, yep. It goes to the schools, but yes, that's where the money is going to support a student scholarship.
What's a partnership school then?
A partnership school is the school that those students choose to go to. So you have an ACE scholar that Bertie Miller chose Care Paravel Latin School, so that is a partner school of ours. So therefore, they can be supported with that student.
So the partnership school is just a school that the kid's going to?
Yeah.
Is there a GPA requirement to maintain a scholarship?
No GPA requirements around it, but we do find that I can give you Kansas specific numbers now. I mean, last year we had 100% graduation rate here in the state of success. Typically, the two metrics, 34 and 54% ahead academically, and those are verified through independent parties. So our kids are accelerated in terms of their academic performance.
Good question. We got one more. Concerning young children and education, I'm a little concerned. I deal with all kinds of families. I'm a landlord. And I'm concerned about the number of families that have the free use of marijuana extensively in their homes and in their automobiles. Do you have any information about how young people are affected mentally, growing up in an environment that's filled with marijuana smoke?
It's not a topic that I really have a knowledge base on, so I'm sorry I don't really have an answer for you.
Okay.
Do you have a position on the elimination of the Department of Education?
We don't hold that against you.
I'll refrain from answering.
Smart growth. All right.
I'm so thankful to be here today with you all, and I can see that this room is filled with just amazing individuals that want to make an impact, and thank you for your time. Your time is the most valuable thing, and I'm so grateful that I get to spend it with you.
We've talked about scholarships. Can you go over what the smallest and what the largest individual scholarship is here in Kansas, and then looking at the other states, what the smallest and what the largest scholarship per pupil happens to be?
Yeah, great question. I think in a general sense, if you look at our kind of track record, typically from K through 8, until last year, our average scholarship for students K through 8 was $2,000 across the board. We were just maybe a little bit above that, maybe at $2,200. With the inflation that has happened over the last couple years, our board has increased those numbers a little bit. So now we're kind of targeting $3,000 for K through 8 and roughly $4,000 for high school level scholarships. So that's kind of the average. The tax credit program allows us to allocate up to $8,000 per student if you were a tax credit scholarship recipient. So in Kansas, we have the tax credit program, and then we also have general donation dollars for someone that might be just outside. So if a kid in a family was maybe at 256% of the federal poverty line number, they wouldn't qualify in the state of Kansas today for a tax credit scholarship. So we still raise money so that those kids still have that opportunity. So,
Question here from Aaron.
I think you mentioned earlier before the meeting started that we could follow the child that we're sponsoring. Is there any way to see what their grades are, what their GPA is, so you can kind of see what the bang for the buck on the return on investment?
yeah, we don't necessarily give an individual donor the direct access to a student. So it'd be more on a school perspective or kind of just a general awareness, if that makes sense, Aaron.
Okay, one last question for you. Do you give scholarships to the Catholic schools in the state of Kansas, or only other than the Catholic schools, private?
Yeah, we work with all private schools throughout the state of Kansas. One of the biggest providers of education in Kansas is obviously Catholic education, so we work with those dioceses here throughout the state, and we're so thankful that we have great partner schools.
Let's get a hand for AJ. Thank you.
Thank you.